I don't know about you, but I love alliteration. I love to have a very easy outline. So I want to offer that for you. So the first three things that we'll be talking about are the ABCs on how to make relationships work. A stands for attachment. We'll talk a little bit about our attachment style. B is going to be picking up your partner's bid for connection. What is a bid? We'll talk about that. And C is clear communication. So those are the ABCs of what we'll be addressing. There are two more things after we're done with the ABCs. The fourth thing is we'll be talking about how to have conflict and how to have healthy conflict. And then the fifth thing is we'll be talking about building a life together and building a symbol where we can bring all this together so we can build on that sense of intimacy. So that's where we'll be going today. So I want to start with a controversial statement. We are made for relationships. So why is this statement up for debate? I mean, you would think that this one comment would not be controversial. However, many psychologists and self-help gurus often will say that you cannot find the right one until you find yourself, or that you need to be in this great place before meeting someone special. This idea is still popular in our own culture. In fact, many people I often meet with have this same or similar belief. They kind of believe maybe that their partner somehow prevents them from reaching their potential in some way, or that they want to be happy, but find that relationships just take too much work. Contrary to these popular beliefs, though, we are actually made for intimacy. Attachment theory was a psychological theory that was started by a person named John Bowlby, and it posits that the most important tenet when we take our first breath as we develop is a relationship with one primary caregiver, often our parent, for our social and emotional development. Here's the thing, we don't ever get away from this. In fact, if we don't have that bond as children, we'll often lack trust in others. We'll be delayed in our own attachment to safe people. We may even build a sense of anxiety and search for this person who has the ability to love us. We may even grow cold, and we may grow distant when love offers itself right at our doors. In other words, we never get away from our need for human connection or our need for a safe person. And if we don't have that, it can actually have drastic effects on how we interact with the world. There are three main attachment styles. One is anxious, second is avoidant, and the third is secure. Now, the anxious person often seeks support. They seek approval and responsiveness from their partner. That's fine. However, the anxious attached partner often will have this very difficult time believing whether or not they're loved, or they'll often question themselves. Am I really lovable? Maybe they'll question their own confidence and whether they are the right one. They're often anxious, and no matter what their partner does or says, it often leaves them unsatisfied. The avoidant attached person is quite the opposite. This person wants to be loved, but maybe they don't want to do as much work. They don't really want to depend on others. They don't want others to depend on them. They're highly independent. They tend to also, at the same time, suppress their feelings. They're also highly confident. They may have high esteem. But overall, they keep relationships at bay, and they are suspicious when people get too close. Finally, there are those with secure attachment. And here, the secure attached person, they actually can depend on their partners and, in turn, let their partners rely or depend on them. They have a balance. They value relationships that are based on honesty, tolerance, transparency, and emotional closeness and trust. They have this healthy sense of themselves and a need for intimacy. This person thrives in their relationship, but also they don't fear being on their own. They do not depend on the responsiveness or the approval of their partners, and yet they're hurt when their partner is hurt. They tend to have a positive view of themselves and of others. Now, the unfortunate news is that none of us can really change our childhood. Maybe some of you came from very anxious homes or avoidant homes. We can't change that. Our childhood is often where we start to develop these attachment styles. Over time, though, we develop those relationships that we learned in the childhood, and we bring them into our intimate relationships, and sometimes those just don't go over very well. Even though we can't change our history, we can't change our past, we can address on how we may be stuck right now. You may be anxious. You may be in a relationship with an avoider, for example. What do? Do you get out? How can I salvage this relationship with this person when this person doesn't necessarily speak my love language or is willing to offer me the love that I crave and need? That's a great question. And the first thing in this program is to try to develop skills that can center your relationship really toward a more secure place where you're okay with you and you're okay with your partner. A place where I can explore who I am without feeling I'm somehow compromising on my relationship. A relationship where I can love my partner and love myself so that I can be valued in this relationship and value them as well. That's my goal for you. Before reaching, though, some of these skills I'll be teaching you, it's really good to take some time to know where you are in this attachment style. Are you someone that is constantly needing that approval? Or maybe someone that is very suspicious? So what I would like you to do before we get started is to take this quiz that you'll see at the bottom of this page. Take some time and have your partner also take this quiz as well. And then as you do this, just talk to one another. Talk to one another in a way that is respectful, but also exploratory on where the two of you are.